Hey there, and welcome to the 100th episode of Celebrate Brave. I am so excited that you are here. I'm Nicole Steinbach, the International Bravery Coach and your host. And I'm also super jazzed. So I had hoped I had this stretch goal to someday reach 100 episodes and do it in a way that didn't stress me, where I felt supported, where I believed in the value I was putting out, and where I took times to rest. And congratulations, me! I did it! Here we are, a little more than 2 years after the first episode, celebrating the 100th episode. You know, in preparation for this episode, I've actually been releasing, the top 10 most listened to from 2022, as well as the currently least listened to. Honestly, it's that last top 10 least listened to is mostly because of time. They were released at the end of 2022. So that I could really feel the drumbeat towards this episode, the 100th episode, and also to role model and to experience the success slump. And that's what we're talking about today. The success slump. Now, I'm going to do a couple of shout outs to set the context. So there's me, 100th episode. 2 years ago, I felt like it was a massive stretch goal, and here we are today. And also my client who hit her 5-year goal in 18 months. The client who self-reported a 50% reduction in stress and working 7 hours less every week. That's more than 1 hour a day. A third client who just celebrated her promotion. Fourth client who had a $20,000 increase in her revenue and is joining a new industry. The fifth client who moved to the city of her choice, increased her income and her overall ease. My sixth client increased her income by $30,000 more, accepted a spot award, and is working about in between a half an hour and 45 minutes less every day on average. And then my last client who has made dramatic choices about her identity and about her place in the world with far more ease, really sharing who she is to the world and who she's becoming, and picking up an extra $25,000 along the way. These clients and me, we all achieved our goals. And so we celebrate. Absolutely, we celebrate. And then comes the slump. Because the slump almost always comes. When you've accomplished a goal and suddenly you wonder, well, what am I doing now? Like my client who finally got her promotion. Or you get your goal, but you look around and you think, is this it? Is this all? Or my client who was working significantly less and suddenly was so tired. The success slump is real. And today I'm going to talk about it. So the first thing that you have to do, that I have to do, is we have to know what happens and we have to normalize it. I'm going to hit this huge stretch goal for me, 100 episodes. And I know that a slump is going to come along. That's why I want to begin to decide who I'm going to be even before I hit the goal. Who before how. So step 1, know it happens and normalize it. Step 2, decide who you're going to be when you hit your goal and after you hit your goal. For me, yes, I am now, as I'm recording this, I am the International Bravery Coach. I coach women all over the world to stress less, work less, and earn more. Last year, I helped 44 women. This year, I'm aiming for helping 50 women. And I'm also the podcast host of a triple-digit podcast. So amazing. What does that mean for me? Who am I in this moment? Well, I decided around episode 90 that I was going to be even more bold. I was going to speak more clearly. I was going to do less prep, stick to bullet points, versus trying to write everything out and getting stuck and then unsticking and then getting it all and then recording and ignoring half of it anyways. I'm going to step in to one of my core values, which is spontaneity. So that's step 2. Decide who before how. Step 3, schedule your celebrations ahead of time. And don't allow yourself to be limited to, oh, I'm going to have a dinner here, or I'm going to buy myself this. You know, it could be a little party. Or recently I was invited to a card party, which basically meant in 1 week, all these people around the world got together, metaphorically speaking, and wrote a card of a funny story for someone. And we all sent it to that person's house. And they had a card party. How fun is that? You really want to schedule your celebration in advance, just like you would for a graduation or a wedding or the birth of a child or any of those things, a big birthday party. Schedule ahead. If you don't schedule ahead, the success slump will hit you and then you won't celebrate at all, which sucks. All right. Step number 4, allow the slump. You know, one of the ways that I am facilitating myself allowing the slump, a whole bunch of episodes before I recorded this episode that are going to go out after this episode. So I'm going to let myself slump, but still have amazing content coming out to you. Why? Because I decided who I was going to be beforehand. Bold and spontaneous. Okay. And step number 5, you can do this while you're in the slump. You either evaluate using the evaluation framework, which is what worked, what didn't work, what do I want to do differently. If you're not familiar with this framework, it is a core aspect of the Build Your Brave framework. You are going to want to go over and listen to that episode. So we'll put it into the show notes. And you're going to want to say, hey, here's my evaluation. Step 6, you're going to put those things that worked and what you want to do differently into your self-concept. Again, self-concept is where all of this begins. Who before how. So again, if you're not familiar with that framework, make sure you listen to that episode. It's so powerful. I hear regularly from my clients that when they truly sit down and do the self-concept work with the podcast and my workbook, everything changes so much faster. And the final step for allowing the slump is to set a new goal and achieve it. Because you're going to wash and repeat, wash and repeat, wash and repeat. So many people that we think of as thought leaders have shared and normalized what I call the success slump. So many Olympians have shared how they also got into a slump, win or lose, gold, silver, bronze, didn't finish. And they follow these same steps. Know it happens and normalize it. Specifically for a lot of our thought leaders and the CEOs and the Olympians and all of these people who are really living into their potential, they have a coach. They have a coach that supports them with us. Because the success slump, it happens. So let's normalize it. Step 2, just a really quick review. Decide who you're going to be before you hit that goal, the who before the how. Number 3, schedule celebrations more than you think. Number 4, allow the slump. Number 5, evaluate. Number 6, update your self-concept. And 7, set that new goal. This is exactly what I'm doing right now as I celebrate with you the 100th podcast episode. A success slump is part of being human. It's okay. In fact, it's better than okay because you achieved your goal. You're allowing yourself the safety to feel all the feelings, and you're showing other people what's possible. As we move forward, I would just love to get more questions, especially as this podcast is now serving a much broader audience than it did at the beginning. My email is Nicole@tricksteinbach.com. That's going to be in the show notes as well. Send me your emails. What's a topic you'd love to hear about? What about a question you'd love to hear my perspective on? Or an expert on bravery, on being a woman in the world who's making a bold, audacious, brave difference? Send that to me too. Until next week, brave it up. Bye. Hey, before you go, if you find the brave concepts I share in this podcast useful and you want personal, in-depth support to reach your brave goals, I invite you to apply for my 6-month one-on-one Build Your Brave coaching package. I coach you and I teach you everything you need to know to get clear, get going, and become your brave you. Imagine you and me together for 6 months, building your bravery so that no matter your goal, no matter where you're starting, we celebrate your results. You will stress less, you will work less, and you will earn a lot more. Go to tricksteinbach.com and schedule your consultation. Till next week, brave it up.